Listen, we got some tables moving. Tonight, we will have some special guests coming up. Some dear friends of mine, Mr. Ryan Baucom and his beautiful wife, Mallory Baucom, are going to come up and they're going to share with us. This month, if you have been coming, we've been walking through our series called Restart, right? Starting off the year, and we've been walking through, like, from a video game perspective, what does it look like? We wish that we can restart our lives. And as we've been kind of walking through different scenarios of what is restart looking like from a gospel standpoint, me and Ryan were texting, and Ryan has been trying to come and talk for a couple of years, and it finally just lined up. And I was like, this is a perfect time for us to talk about this. And so Ryan has an incredible testimony, and his wife as well. And so I asked them to come. They're going to come tonight, and they're going to share with us what it looks like. Where have y'all been with these cards? But we've already counted. Where have you been? Our generation is just chalked. Okay, pass them to the end of the row. I'll grab them. I ain't going to count them, but I'll grab them. Hurry up, pass them. All right, listen. So listen. Rule of thumb, if Brandon is up here or anybody else is up here that's not me, whatever respect you have for me, it needs to be quadrupled for them, okay? So I need all ears. I need eyes, and we're going to show respect, and we're going to learn something tonight. So with that being said, I want y'all to give a biggest round of applause for the Baucoms as they come on up. I think y'all are loved. They love y'all's kids more. That's kind of how it goes.
I love those Pepto-Bismol pink shorts.
Hey, there you go.
What? Oh. All right. Mine's on. Is it on? All right. There's a lot more of y'all. Some of y'all know me or know us or know her. Probably none of y'all know where we came from. In 2009, I hurt my back riding four-wheelers, or thought I pulled a muscle, right? So I went to the clinic, and they pretty much said, hey, something doesn't look right, but we'll see if it's a pulled muscle. Here's anti-inflammatory, muscle relaxers, whatever. If it's not better in a couple of weeks, come back and see me. So ended up at a specialist, and basically he scared me straight into back surgery at like 22, 23 years old. However, I don't know. I went to New Hope. Y'all know y'all can't count. So somewhere in there.
You better be careful of that math teacher.
Huh?
I said you better be careful. A math teacher might be in here.
I don't see any of my math teachers in here. None of my math teachers were in here, so we're good. Anyway, so basically he said there's nothing holding my lower vertebrae in place. It's just shifting. And if I don't have surgery, it may not be today or tomorrow, it may not be a year from now, but if it shifts off, hits those nerves, you're done, you'll never walk again. But time to have surgery. So that's what I did. And when I got home, this was 2009, end of 2009. This was like pre-opioid pandemic. I'm sure y'all heard that, right? No, never heard that? You never heard it? Huh? That's all right. I forgive you this time. But before all the drugs and the especially the pain pills and stuff were bad, I guess you'd say. Now you see commercials about it, you hear about it everywhere, but it wasn't as serious then as it was now. So I got home taking pain pills, and it didn't matter if it was 3 days later, a week later, whatever. I called the doctor called it in. And I had to go back for a ton of follow-ups, and every one of them, my back's still hurting. It's not getting any better. Oh, you're still just healing. That was a major surgery. It'll get better. All right, cool. Well, fast forward 9 months later, at one of my follow-ups I was supposed to go to, I got a phone call from the clinic in Birmingham that my doctor and his wife had been killed in their private plane over the Gulf. Well, whatever, I'm not going back. So I just didn't go back. And so I started seeing a doctor here, and he would just write me the prescriptions every month for the pain medicine. And of course, it started off low doses, not as many a month, and then it kept going from there. And the beginning of 2010, February or March, I started at the shop that I own now, and I started up there because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do construction and electrical anymore. My back hurts. So I had a job up there. They needed help up front. I like cars. It worked out. And it just got worse from there. And then 2013 is when we met at the shop, when it was Total Customs back then, and we met there, and we were friends for a couple of years before we started dating. But I vividly remember the night we met because she wrecked a moped into a big 55-gallon drum inside the shop and sounded like a gun going off. Right?
Okay. Yeah, I did, because you didn't teach me.
I taught you
No, you didn't.
after that.
Well, after, that didn't help.
Tell them how I taught you, though.
He dropped me off in Columbus High Parking. Oh, I got one. I got one. He dropped me off in the Columbus High parking lot and let me drive back to the shop on the moped.
Needless to say, she doesn't have that moped anymore.
But it was red. It's pretty.
Before you wrecked it.
Anyway.
She had a helmet on. Anyway, so we started dating, and I was on the pain medicine then. She knew I was on pain medicine, but I don't think she really knew that to the extent. I don't think anybody really knew to the extent. And we ended up getting a house and getting married. And who's 8 years old now, Weston, when we had him, I was just there. All I did was take pain pills all day. I come home, I fall asleep in the chair, and that was pretty much life. Besides eating, I ate a lot.
I keep forgetting that part. You ate
What?
a lot.
Yeah,
Half our paycheck.
like, no, that went to the pills.
The other half of our
Oh, yeah.
paycheck.
But no, I was like 310, I think, when I I was big. I ate a lot. But because my logic was that I knew that taking that many pills, it could mess the lining of my stomach up, so I just ate a lot. And it got to the point, though, with the medicine where I was getting 120 pills a month, and those were gone within a week. So 3 weeks, I'm doing whatever I got to do to get pills, basically. And she didn't really know what was going on there. She didn't know how much I was actually taking. It just kept getting worse. So I'd go from taking like one every 4 to 6 hours, how it's supposed to be, to 2 at a time every 3 or so hours. And then I started taking Xanax on top of that. Just whatever I had to do, right? But I thought I hurt because I'd wake up at 3 a.m., back's hurting, got to take medicine. That was my life, taking pills. And after Weston was born, it got really, really bad those last few months. And it got to the point, I mean, I'd be nodding off driving down the road with him in the back seat and her in the passenger seat. I'd be nodding off, sitting at a desk like this in front of a computer at the shop, talking to a customer, probably slurring, drilling, God knows what. So it got to that point, and that was kind of when I was given an ultimatum to either get off the stuff or that's it, we're gone. And I was fixing to lose my job. All this hit me at once. So it's like, okay. I was like, well, I guess something's got to give. But let me rewind. I forgot one part here. That first surgery was in 2009. In 2014, I guess, 14 or 15, I went back to a back doctor here in town because I'd went to pain management. I'd done the injections. They did the stents therapy, stuck all the needles in my back, shocked my nerves, all that fun stuff. And nothing worked, right? So I went back, and when I went back, he did x-rays, and he's like, oh, well, here's your problem. He's like, it's fused, everything's there. He's like, it's not the prettiest thing, but it's there, and it's not going anywhere. He said, I think all your pain is from these rods and these screws in your back. He said the 2 rods, the top of them, they're probably about that long, probably about as big around as my finger, and the tops of both of them had broken. the heads of the screws had broken off, and so they were like bowed back. They weren't even straight anymore, and which I had no idea. I don't even know when they broke. But so I had surgery, and I just remember waking up in the recovery room crying like a little girl because I could not. That was the worst pain I ever felt in my life, waking up from surgery. And the next thing I remember is waking up in the hospital room. Doctor came in, did his usual, hey, surgery went good, blah, 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 whatever. And he looked at me and said, I don't know how much pain medicine you take or what it is. He said, but you've got to do something to control this because I just gave you enough pain medicine in that recovery room to take out a football team that doesn't take any medicine. Like, it'd knock every one of them out. He said, I had to sign off like 5 times to the nurse to give you more because your tolerance is so high. It's like, all right, well, we went with that. We went home. Hey, we're optimistic. Well, all I know is I still hurt, or thought I did. Nothing changed. And so then that's when it got really bad, and you got to go to rehab. You got to do something. Because I tried myself to get off of it. I know some people are strong-willed. They can do it. I'm not one of them. Most people are not one of them. Because when this stuff bites you, and when it gets a hold of you, that's all you think about. I mean, that's all I thought about, all I cared about was where was I going to get the next one from, because I was only going to have a week's worth out of my month's prescription. And so I do whatever it took. I never stole anything, but I maxed out a few credit cards, cash advances, and then when I got past the cash advances, I'd go buy something, or I'd buy it from the shop, or stereo, or wheels, or something, and I'd sell them on the street to get quick cash for cheap, or trade them for the pills. Whatever it took, it didn't matter. She didn't know any of this. She didn't even really know how much I actually made when I was working there, because I would cash the check and only put like half of it in the bank. So she never even knew if I had gotten a raise, because that money was going to pills. And so I went to rehab, and when I got to rehab, I remember the first week, I think it was like 5 days when I was going through detox, I couldn't talk to my family. I couldn't talk to her. I didn't have a phone, anything like that. And I remember it had been the 4th, 5th, 6th day, something like that. Whenever I got to make my first phone call, and I'm in the counselor's office and got to call her, and once again I remember crying like a little girl. Come get me, huh?
Worse.
Yeah, I do remember that. It was bad. Whatever they had me on detoxing me was, I just felt numb. I felt like I was in a dream. I don't know. It was really weird. Never felt anything like this. It was weird. And which obviously I stayed there. I didn't get to leave. But 2 weeks into it, I'm outside playing wiffle ball. Which granted, I look like the Michelin Man, 310. It's hot. And all I remember was hitting the ball and running to first. And I woke up with one of my buddies over top of me slapping my face, laughing. You all right? You all right? I'm like, yeah. And here comes the nurse, because I can't remember the name of the medicine, but whatever they put me on for the Xanax, I wasn't supposed to be outside in the heat or direct sunlight. I understood then what she meant by that. But anyways, I stayed in rehab for 30 days, and I came home. And when I got home, as far as detoxing from the pain medicine and stuff, I'm not going to say I was over that. I wasn't over that. But I was more past that part of it than the Xanax. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that, but I'll give y'all a little class lesson real quick. Xanax, benzodiazepines, and alcohol are the only 2 things you can die from detoxing. Write that down. Alcohol. You won't die from detoxing off meth. You won't die from detoxing off coke. Pain pills. You might feel like you're dying, but you won't. But you actually can die from those 2 things right there. And so I get home, and I couldn't sleep like first 2 or 3 months. I'd get on the couch, go 3 or 4 days, wouldn't sleep, and then I'd finally crash. Then I'd do it all over again. That went on 2 or 3 months. The worst thing was the sickness. I stayed sick upset stomach, nausea, till that. I came home in April. It lasted till November. And I might wake up and be fine one day. I might wake up, feel nauseous, be fine. I might wake up, get sick once, be fine. Might get sick 10 times that day and be sick for the next 4 days. Yeah, I never knew. It got so bad. It was so bad, like a month into it, that we ended up, I got an appointment with a gastrologist for them to run a scope down my stomach to make sure that nothing was, messed up in my stomach. My stomach lining or something like that from all the pills and stuff. And everything was fine. He's like, all your body knows is this for the past, 7 years. That's all it knows. So it's going to take some adjusting. I didn't know it was going to take till November, but it did. But I'm telling y'all all this because, y'all's this month has been about restart. And some of you may know what I'm talking about. Some of you may not have a clue what I'm talking about. But if you don't have a clue, you will. You're going to come across it. High school, peer pressure, it's there. And it's worse now than ever. Way worse than when I was in high school. I remember the DARE programs, and, I remember them being boring, and I didn't listen to anything they said. That's what I remember from them, right? Keep kids off drugs, you got a cool T-shirt, let's go. But it's so much worse now, and it's everywhere. And they're putting stuff in these pills now that can kill you. They make it look like a Tylenol or a Flintstones vitamin if they want to. And you take one, it can kill you because of what they're putting in it. And it's bad. If I can kind of tell you all this, y'all are a little bit older, so you'll understand it. You've all heard of heroin, right? So we got a vial this big around, this tall. It's got that much heroin in it, right? That's equivalent to like that much of what I'm talking about that can kill you instantly, which is fentanyl, which is equivalent to about that much a dusting, which is carfentanil. And it's serious. Most of these people that overdose and die from this stuff think they're taking a painkiller. They think they're getting heroin, but they're not. They're getting, something else. But that's why it's so bad now. But it takes over your body. It takes over your mind. And that's all you think about. And you're going to do whatever you've got to do to get a hold of it again. And that's really what, the restart part of this is. Now, 2010, 09 I have surgery. 2010 I started Total Customs, making $8 an hour. Couldn't even make enough on a 40-hour check to pay my truck payment and my cell phone bill and put gas in my truck. Wasn't enough, right? And then now we're in 2024, and I own the business that I started at making $8 an hour and almost got fired from because of all the pills, right? And married with 4 kids, was fixing to lose my wife with 1 kid in my job, and now I restarted, and that's what y'all have got to be aware of, especially with the peer pressure in the high school and stuff. Like I said, if you haven't been around it or you haven't seen it, it's coming. It is. You just got to, who you're around and who you hang with has got a lot to do with it. That's going to be, those are going to be the ones that are going to keep you grounded. If they're not, if they're the ones doing it with you, then it ain't the right ones. It's not. But when, do you want to say anything before I keep rambling?
Go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Where's the water bottle?
You're not thinking.
Oh, okay. But, restarting is, yes, it's hard to do, but anybody can do it. There's tons of people with a story similar to what I just told you, or even way worse. I didn't have, I didn't care when I was on all this stuff. I didn't care. It didn't matter. I came home. If Weston was screaming, I didn't know it. I was passed out in the chair with an undershirt on, with a big dip drool stain on every undershirt I owned because I passed out every time I sat down. And it went from, we were talking about the 120 a month, right? Well, they last a week. it even got bad to a point that I was getting full scripts from, I'm not going to say who or where, but I was getting full scripts once to twice a month for free that wasn't prescribed. And at first, I was selling them. That supported the few I had to buy, right? And then it ended up, I'm taking all of them and then asking for more. So it hits you quick. It's not something that, you know, oh, I'm going to do this at a party one night. Yeah, just take one, you know. And then a year later, you're looking back like, what happened? Where am I at? Why am I doing this? And you can't stop. It's just not, it's not as easy. Your mind's telling you other things because it binds to those receptors in your brain, and that's all your brain knows. You need it, right? I had the second surgery, and it fixed my back. I didn't know it. I still woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning hurting, or thought I was. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, I can overdo it, do something I don't need to be. I've had 2 surgeries. Tylenol or ibuprofen. That's, you know, that's what I take, and it does fine. But I just really wanted to come and tell y'all all about this because the ones of you in here that do know me probably have no idea what I just said, have no idea that any of that ever even happened. So, and like I said, there's many other people in this church that have a similar story that you don't even have a clue. So you can take it and you can restart and, you know, turn it to the positive. Because like I said, I just look at then versus where I'm at now. Never in the middle of any of this did I think that in 2024 I would own the business that I was working at, making $8 an hour, off of all the medicine, have 4 kids, still have a wife. So, you know, it's just something to think about. And I know none of y'all, well, there's a couple of y'all. Oh, hey, Connor. I thought you, like, moved somewhere to, I don't know, Georgia, Africa. I don't know. How's the carpal tunnel? Nice. But anyway, so, you know, just, I know most of y'all don't know me, but if you do run across any of this and you want somebody to talk to, I'm here. I'm not going to go tell your mom and your daddy. I'm going to try to help you because I know, I get it. I've been there. I know what it's like. You got anything you want to add?
You did good.
Oh, thank you. I got the approval.
Mallory, how did you make it through him doing all that?
It was a blur. I had a newborn, so I'm loud. I have 4 kids. I'm pretty loud. Can you hear me? Okay. I had a newborn. That's all I knew, taking care of him. He was
And me.
not present.
And taking care of me.
Well, honestly, I kind of had, I don't know. He was just there. I don't know.
Like literally, I was just there.
I really didn't know it was so bad because I thought his back did hurt. So I didn't know, like, there was a problem when we got together. So I kind of just thought that was normal for a while.
Yep. Until it got worse and worse and worse.
Then we couldn't pay our bills, my parents.
Yeah, we're struggling paying bills, and he doesn't even know that I'm making almost double what I'm actually bringing home because it's going to pills. But, yeah, we got through that one.
Why do you keep looking at me? You're making me nervous, please.
What did I do?
I don't know, you're just staring at me. Okay, here. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to hit on one thing they said. First off, let's give them one more hand. First off, I want to, say thank y'all so much for coming and not sharing that once, but twice. They came for the middle schoolers too. And I don't think for a lot of us, we don't realize how hard that is, especially for Mallory. She was stressing all day long about having to go up there and speak. And so for her to be brave enough to come up here and do that, public speaking is not fun for a lot of people. And then also talking about your brokenness and talking about the things that you struggle with personally is not an easy thing to do. One thing I thought was really cool that he mentioned was that, if you know me now, you probably didn't even know what I was going through. And it's a beautiful thing that I didn't know all this before I met Ryan. And it's because God has the ability to take your past. We talk about this all month, but like your brokenness doesn't define you, right? And so I know Ryan and Mallory now, and I would have never known the things that they struggled with because through all of this, God gave them an ability to restart, right? That season in their life did not haunt them and define who they are for the rest of their life. And so we have to be careful to make sure we don't allow our shortcomings and the things that we struggle with to define who we are and let that be something that we feel like, well, this is who we are for the rest of our life. So we have to be careful with that. And I hope that you guys understand how real that is. And like he said, he didn't wake up one day and say, you know what, I want to be addicted to pain pills. Or one day I want to wake up and just ruin my family. Those things never just happen like that. It's a slow thing. We'll talk about this tomorrow. If you go to New Hope, I got to do FCA. We'll talk about how if sin goes unchecked, those are the things that ends up happening, right? And if we're not careful, can I be honest with y'all? Probably in the last 5 years, I've been here for 5 years now, I probably had about 6 or 7 conversations with guys and girls who sat in those chairs that you're sitting in, who are in high school or 1 year out, who've called me bawling because they're like, Brandon, I don't know how I got here. Brandon, I am an alcoholic. I can't stop. Brandon, I'm addicted to these things and I can't stop. Can you please help me? And I promise you, when they were in 10th grade, 11th grade, sitting in small groups, playing those sports, having a great time, they never thought that they would be in that point. You get what I'm saying? Though you don't just wake up one morning, you know what, I'm going to ruin my life. But there's a process of us going unchecked and lowering our guard and believing the lie that, you know what, maybe that isn't that bad as what everybody told me it was. And you'll find yourself one day in a position where you never thought you'd be in. And you're lying about it and you're holding it a secret because now you don't want to let your parents down, you don't want your friends to know, and you're slowly just eating yourself from the inside. So I want y'all to understand, like, this is a very real thing. This isn't like an outlandish thing, oh, that was just Ryan, that'll never happen to me. I promise you that it's extremely easy to get caught up in this. But if you do find yourself going down the wrong path, please understand and know that God's grace is sufficient, and he can still bring you back out of that, that we like we've seen over and over again. All right? So listen, I got to tell y'all who won. We'll be dismissed in a second. The winner of the Teacher of the Month is Sydney. It is not Sydney. Sydney had 1 vote, and I think it was from Sydney. The winner is, drum roll, the one and only Rachel Robinson. She won it. Yeah. So not only is she great at school, she's also great here. So we love her. So we'll celebrate her tomorrow at school. And so at break, I'll come and we can try to embarrass her as best the way we can, okay? All right, listen. Stay out of trouble. We love you. Clean up your mess. If you've got a few minutes, we need to set up tables in the fellowship center to feed the football team. So please go help Trip set up tables. Love y'all. See y'all next week. Bye.